Hi, it's Morag from Our Permaculture Life and the Permaculture Education Institute. Welcome back into my garden for another daily live, exploring permaculture and plastic-free July. Now, there have been billions and billions of metric tons of plastic that have been released into the environment since the 1950s. Unfortunately, a very small percentage of that has ever been recycled, so around about 9%. About 12% has been incinerated. That means the rest of it is somewhere in the landscape or the ocean. And actually, it's probably never going to go away. So you can imagine that most of the plastic that has ever been created is still somewhere around us. And much of it's in the guts of fish or seabirds or floating around the oceans, and microplastics all throughout our environment. So one of the things, a simple thing that I wanted to talk today about that you can do to reduce plastics, just a simple thing that you can do, is think about tea. Now, interestingly, 96%, I think, of all the tea that's drunk is actually drunk in tea bags these days. And most of the tea bags, they look like they're paper, but up to 25% of it is plastic. And the plastic paper has been designed in a way so it won't just fall apart when we put them into our teapots. So every time that we have a cup of tea with a tea bag, it's actually contributing to the plastic in the environment. But it's not just that, it's also that it's going into our bodies as well. So the microplastics, every time we put a tea bag into a cup of tea, it sheds billions of microplastic and nanoplastic particles that we ingest. So it's kind of a pretty horrible thought. So in terms of thinking about the well-being of people and the well-being of planet, there's different ways that we can address tea, isn't there? So, everything from using the tea balls or a plunger or a teapot, or even better still, thinking about, well, what are the kinds of teas that we're drinking and can we grow them ourselves in our garden? So right here, just outside my kitchen, I have a number of little plants here that are my favourite teas that I can just come out at any time and grab some. So, for example, one of them is the lemonbalm, which has a beautiful lemony flavour. I just grab a handful like that, stick it into a teapot and let it brew, and then sip on that. And it's also really nice as a cool tea. Another one that I've got right here is pineapple sage. So the pineapple sage flowers, as well as the leaves, are really beautiful flavour to have for a tea. And it's also nice mixed. I really like messing around with, blending different sorts of teas and coming up with different flavours, from, mixing some ginger in with some, or having mint with a lemon balm, or, the lemongrass further down the hill there. But one of my absolute favourites would have to be this one, which is this tree that's beside me, the lemon myrtle, which is a bush tucker plant that belongs here in this particular environment. So I would just come out and grab a couple of leaves of this, and without even bothering with a plunger or a teapot, just stick some of these leaves in the cup and pour the boiling water over and let it steep for a couple of minutes, and then pull the leaf out, and it's a beautiful, refreshing drink. So a simple way of thinking about how we can connect with our food system by nourishing the soil around us, thinking about how we can connect with the local indigenous plants in our area, and then sort of decoupling ourselves from the consumer-based society that makes us, buy plastics even if we don't want to or don't think that we are. And we can get away from the packaging too. So I know many people still love the cup of tea with, the black tea or green tea. So maybe think about doing a bulk tea, or if you're part of a co-op, for example, the local food co-op in my town, Mullaney, I can go in with a jar or a bag and just scoop the loose tea in. So I don't even need to buy the box or the plastic that it comes in. So it's just taking a few steps back and rethinking where it's coming from, how it's getting here, what is the impact that it's having on the way, and as much as possible, just relocalize the sources of the things that we're using. So there's so many different possibilities of creating your own tea garden in your permaculture garden, whether that be on a balcony, in a courtyard, or in your garden around your house, or at a community garden or school garden too. All right, well, catch me again tomorrow back in my garden. We're going to be talking about another way to think about decoupling from plastic, or particularly the single-use plastics. So I'll catch you again tomorrow. I'll put some links below of some of my favourite teas